Today we are with Mr. Manish Sharma, Vice President Asia Pacific of NComputing. Thank you for joining us, sir. So, what is the founding philosophy and the kind of business that NComputing has been doing since 2008?
Well, Roselle, the basic thing which we work on is affordable computing. We make the computing more affordable for the masses. We take the power of a computer, the unused power of a computer, and we make more computers out of it. One question which our customers really see it is, instead of buying, why should they buy 10 computers when one would serve the purpose? Every computer has a lot of capacity which is unused. We take that unused capacity and we divide that capacity to multiple users. So instead of buying 10 computers, and an end customer or a business entity is just buying one, but without any compromise in functionality, the entire acquisition cost really comes down, the maintenance cost comes down, and hence affordable computing, which is what we work on.
So how do you do that? If you can elaborate a bit for our viewers as to how do you reduce the number of computers and increase affordability, you say?
Certainly. So as I explained, that every host computer, the computers which we use in our daily life, we use only a very small fraction of the power, really 4 or 5% for our day-to-day use. If you are a heavy user, you could be using like a 10-20% of the power. Remaining 80% is still unused. We don't use it, but we as a business will buy more. What we are doing is the reverse way. We are taking the unused 80% of the power. We are creating multiple machines, multiple smaller machines out of it. What every user will have is an access device to access that small virtual machine. Instead of a business, instead of buying 50 computers, it ends up buying only 5. And the remaining part is all the NComputing technology. Consequently, the acquisition cost, the purchase cost of this entire infrastructure really comes down dramatically by nearly 40 to 60%, depending on the cases. Electricity savings, maintenance savings are huge in the tune of 90%. And that's what our customers really enjoy. In India alone, we have over 13 lakh of these units deployed till now who are enjoying this.
So what are some of the challenges that you would like to talk about that you might have faced since 2008?
The challenges in a way are more of the awareness. Once a customer or the prospect or the business or a school or an organization or a government, once they realize that they don't really have to buy 10 computers and one would serve the purpose, that infrastructure, that setup is really going to really last for another 5 years, and they are going to enjoy this sort of saving, the mind doesn't really go back. They really just go ahead, they experiment with it, where they try it. The challenge is in awareness. Are they really being aware of such a technology that exists? Over a period of time, and thanks to over 800 of our channel partners spread across India, and hundreds and hundreds of reference sites, we are really gaining a lot more momentum right now. So this awareness challenge is really becoming less because primarily with the references, one customer really gives to another. But that has been one of the initial early big challenge of awareness.
Okay, so since you say that you are working through channel partners, so how do you position them? How do you structure them in India?
We have one distributor, one central distributor. There is Reddington. They are based in Chennai, but they have offices in around 50 offices across India. And then in every state, we have resellers who really work with Reddington in that state. So primarily, we work primarily with Reddington, and through them, we reach out to our tier 2, tier 3 cities channel partners and make sure that the training and all the programs are really given to them.
So you have been working with 7 different states: Gujarat, Haryana, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Bihar, and Delhi.
Yes.
With primary schools.
Yes.
Right? So what is the partnership exactly? What do you exactly do for these schools?
Roselle, the schools are not only primary, but they are also in secondary nature. It just so happens that the majority of them are primary schools. These are more of a government tenders. These are like boot tenders. You're familiar with it. And they come either under an ICT initiatives or a Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan initiatives, or one of the combinations, or one of the state-specific projects. In India alone, 50,000 government schools now. We have reached that milestone of 50,000 government schools which we have deployed. The relationship with all these governments starts when the government really calls us and they want to really experience and they want to test the entire technology, which they do, and we work very closely with them and with our partners. It takes usually 3 to 4 months time when the testing is over. After the test is over, we participate in a tender through our partners, and then our partners really go and deploy them. So 50,000 units and approximately around 10 seats per school takes us to around a number of 5 lakh in government schools alone. Our entire number in India is around 13 lakhs, with 5 lakhs in government schools, 4 lakhs in other
13 lakh systems?
13 lakhs of our devices.
Okay.
In India. Out of these 13 lakhs, 5 lakhs are in government schools, 4 lakhs in different type of education, be it universities, colleges, or private schools, and the remaining 4 lakh in SMEs and corporate enterprises.
So any new collaborations that you are looking forward to in the coming quarter?
With the state governments?
Yeah.
Massive. There's numerous of them. The word of mouth is a very big thing for us. In fact, when a particular state, as an example, when Orissa sees what a great success Andhra is enjoying, consequently Orissa also goes for it. I'm just saying as an example, and it spreads over. So it is always when a state sees, or when these bodies of state education, when they meet up and when they really share the success they have, this thing starts to spread. Of course, Roselle, the process is slightly slow moving because these are complex projects. However, one state refers to another and talks about the success, and this is how it really goes.
How about, this was about India, and what about the other Asia Pacific countries? Like, which are the countries that get you maximum business?
Besides India, the biggest country which is very successful in India, across Asia, is Philippines, where we have deployed over 200,000 units. Again, very, very similar environment to India. The challenges which they have, the challenges with deploying units in a very rural areas, the challenges are similar. In India, the only difference is we are just one big landmass. There are 7,000 islands. So, but the challenges are same. But Philippines has been very, very strong. There are other countries where countries, even smaller ones like Bhutan, Nepal, where hundreds of schools really have deployed this, and they have been using it for past several years.
What about China?
China, we have started. We went a bit late over there in China primarily because our resources were very limited, and we focused our resources primarily in India, Indonesia, Philippines, and all. China, a lot of government of China, we started our discussion. Pilots have started to happen over there, and this has been happening for the last 6 to 8 months. And we are very hopeful in the coming days, especially in the 2015, this can be a very, very good.
I have heard that it was difficult for NComputing actually to enter Chinese market. If you can talk about that.
It is not about NComputing, Roselle. What we realized was, like in every company, there are limited resources. There is a limited time, limited resources. Now, if I want to spread myself thin across a continent, or do I want to really have more depth in certain countries? Those are the factors that really came more to me and my team. It was our decision to focus more into India, into Philippines, into a handful of Asian countries first. If you take it as a challenge, yes, we did invest time in China. It is our realization that we better focus on the countries and really have depth in the countries. It may seem like a technology, and it may seem like, why don't you roll the technology out? But Rosella, this is more than that. I'll give you an example which will really clear it out. If you were to working with the state government, it is not about a device itself. It is not about, oh, technology, let's really get it done on the state government. The technology has to work with their systems. The technology has to work with that government's content. They could have really made an educational content in their own language using their own technology. We have to test that part out. It requires a lot more resources than what it may seem like. It is important that it became important to us that we really focus on certain countries and really work on that. At that point of time, we as a team, I and my team really started to focus on Indian subcontinent and ASEAN region. And that was the focus, and that's where we have really commanded a very, very strong market share right now. Recently, We started discussing with several agencies in China. Our discussions are happening, tests are happening, which is also really lead us to really formulation of our strategies. And I will not be surprised if in the next year we get our presence over there.
So, if I'm not wrong, 2/3 of your business comes globally from education.
Yes, especially very true for Asia Pacific, but yes, true.
So, which other sectors are you planning to venture into?
I mean, beyond education?
Beyond education.
So, 2/3 comes from education, consequently 1/3 comes from other industries. Primarily, we are very successful in SMEs and increasing number of large enterprises. Now, if you were to analyze as to which of the industries within SMEs, because that's quite a big segment, which of the industries do buy, we have done an analysis last year and this year, asking our customers as to in what sort of environment they're using. We see manufacturing taking quite a big chunk of that part. Manufacturing where environment could be, example could be dusty, or the environment really requires, there could be a lot of vibrations over there. Our devices can really take that. It really goes very well into manufacturing. Another area, Rosal, which we have seen as taking a lot of adoption is the service industry. Let's take an example of like a travel agency or a lawyer firm. Let's take a lawyer firm or travel agency could be using 2 or 3 different applications, and everything is very centralized, very task-based environment. Or in a lawyer firm, security is one of the concern. Technology like NComputing fit glove in hand over there. Within SMEs, a lot of services, service industry, and manufacturing. We have also noticed an increasing trend into financial services. A lot has to do with the security part. As a design of the technology, it is secured by design itself because all the data is pushed to the center of the network. At the client side, there is no data trace at all. Insurance agencies, financial agencies love it.
So, manufacturing is probably the focus of our government as well, and there is a lot of jobs and a lot of companies that India expects in the coming few 1 or 2 years. So, what exactly can NComputing do for the sector? If you can elaborately say.
We have been taking, this is a great question to, if I see it from a product point of view. Rosal, what we have done, and especially these exercises really happened around 2 quarters back. We went through a huge number of customers in different segments, and we asked them on what should the product roadmap should look like. It should not be the product which we think. It should be the product where they are really going into. A lot of inputs really has started coming in. A particular manufacturing organization could say, well, this particular software is pretty de facto in our segment. Could you please make sure that this thing really works in your environment? Another one could say that we are really embarking on a particular operating system. Could you just make sure that your devices really support this operating system? Another one, which is a very frequent one, is that we as a manufacturing organization are standardized on this particular brand of printers or a specialized scanners or some sort of another machine which really fits into the host. Could NComputing support that? These are the lot of requests which were in generic, but now we have specific requests which are really coming to us. And our product roadmap is really making sure that these are really prioritized and catered for.
So, coming back to the education segment, how do you see the online learning ecosystem shaping up in Asia Pacific region in the coming days?
One of the trends which I have seen, results around 3-4 years back when we used to really work in government tenders, not only in India, but I talking about Indian subcontinent or all the way into Indonesia and all. They were very classroom specific setups where all the content is in one small storage and the entire classroom is sort of self-sufficient and all they have to do is to learn that part. This was around 3 years back. You can analyze the specs of these requirements yourself, and it's not only in India, it used to be everywhere. If you were to study a tender now, this is very different. Connectivity to the outside world is a given over there, even in a rural school. It is not only the local content, but a student takes care of the local content and he does research over a Wikipedia or a certain online encyclopedias to really to go through the entire learning. To answer the question, there is a big difference between what it was 3 years and what it is right now, and this is increasing. This has been my observation, and as a person who practically travels or really works with a huge number of Ministry of Educations across Asia Pacific, this has been a very, very big trend which is increasing for online.
So what is the current ecosystem of online learning in Asia Pacific now?
If you were to, again, I'll go back to a structure of let's step out of technology and step into a classroom. So what a classroom has is a lab, there is a host computer, there are some access devices, and initially it was all just really working based on the content which was residing in the host. Now host is a part of the content. It's a tip of the iceberg. The big part of the iceberg is the online medium over there. The classroom could access the Ministry of Education content server. They will access Wikipedia, they will access a different part. And that sort of connectivity now becomes a very, very important part. That those networking equipments have really come in to facilitate, to ensure that the online content is available and is very readily available to the students over there doing the research and during its curriculum. There is quite a dramatic change in the way these architectures are changing within a classroom to really for a student to reach out to the world and communicate over there.
So how do you see the online learning space evolving over the next 5 to 10 years? What would the mobilizing factors for this be?
I was recently in Philippines, and they had implemented where the teachers who are experts in a particular subject, and they are really having seminars or webinars over there. And this was to a rural school. Okay, theoretically they know, but practically now seeing it, that a teacher of physics is really now doing into 10 schools simultaneously. We all knew that it was possible 3 years back. When you see this thing happening, and this is happening right now, using technology which is very easily available, using technology which is really available in our desktop, but using the technology, what I'm seeing it is happening right now. This is happening as we talk. As we talk, there are these online courses being delivered, not by any proprietary platforms or something, but by technology which we all have. There are even using something like a Skype or a Messengers and all, there are some really beautiful deployment of this really taking place. I'm very, very optimistic. I'm very, very bullish that this is really going to be, the momentum is really going to continue in the coming years.
So what would NComputing's role be? How do you see it in the next 5 years?
Sure. Rosal, what is also shifting over here is the form factor. Till date, a tethered device, a desktop or a device which is really connected through a wire over there to a host computer has been the norm till now. But as we all know, things have been changing. There may not be a physical host computer over there. It just could be a virtual machine. It could be a virtual machine somewhere in a cloud, in someone's cloud infrastructure. It could be a Ministry of Education's own cloud infrastructure, and that machine has vanished. We have adapted to that. From an end customer side, or let's say from a student really has been the same student who has been using a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse is now probably using a tablet also. Now, a tablet is not tethered. It is now not only wirelessly connected, but the entire form factor is different. And that content which was there now has to really come on your mobile devices. We already have adapted to that. We have solutions to really cater for it. The solutions which are being used by customers over there. So now we are working in a tethered environment, in a hybrid or in a pure mobile environment. At the back end, the infrastructure could be on my premises in my school, or it could be in a Ministry of Education, or it could be somewhere else. We as NComputing, we are adapted to the way the technology has changed. Next 5 years, we're just going to work on that.
So, just in one sentence, what is the biggest landmark change that you see in the online learning segment in India?
Landmark change. This is not
for NComputing, but for the online segment.
I think connectivity, which always has been there, but the way connectivity really has improved, Rosal, think of it. It is primarily connectivity, which really enables you. The technology was always there. But if I really do not really have no connectivity to my end content server, what good was the technology then? And massive developments have really taken place. I have myself have really visited some really remote schools in Uttarakhand, in Himachal and all, really remote schools, where I remember in that vicinity 4 years back, a mobile signal was really not very much, was difficult. But right now, these students, and you see them, and they are really accessing different sites and Wikipedias and all. It's a very, very different thing. What has changed? Connectivity. The technology has not changed in the last 4 years from that environment. Of course, some sort of like routers and some sort of devices have really come in, but connectivity, I think that has been a very, very strong
What
thing.
do you think, what would you attribute this change to? Like, what has mobilized this massive enhancement in the connectivity?
Even the connectivity technology was there, adoption by the government adopting it to really make it work for the masses, especially in the terms of schools, and I'm really in the context of school, has been the main thing. The technology has existed. We all know, we have been using it in a metro cities and all. Take the technology and making the projects available so that it really reaches those masses, and the infrastructure required by the government, I believe that has been really put down, not only in India, but in a lot of these countries which I mentioned during this conversation.
Which country do you see is in Asia Pacific most open to the concept of imbibing online learning?
Unquestionably, India and Philippines, from my perspective. This is my perspective as a person. For last 10 years, every second week I'm in some other country talking to different economies and all. It's India and Philippines. This is my viewpoint.
Sure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Rizal.